Number 10. Eating meals without noticing taste. You don't remember chewing it? You don't remember the flavor, the texture, or the moment it entered your mouth? You just swallowed it, like a machine following a silent script. Most people think eating is automatic, something we do because hunger demands it. But the truth is darker. If you're eating without tasting, your mind isn't present. It's somewhere else, stuck in old thoughts, future worries, or repeating emotional loops you're not even aware of. Think about your last meal. Did you notice the smell before the first bite? Did you feel the temperature on your tongue? Did you recognize sweetness, bitterness, softness, crunch? Or did you scroll, watch something, talk mechanically, and let your body finish the meal while your mind wandered? When we stop tasting food, it's not just eating on autopilot. It's disconnecting from life itself. Food is one of the oldest human rituals. It connects us to survival, memories, culture, comfort, and identity. But when your mind is numb, a meal becomes just another repeating pattern in a loop you never question. And here's the unsettling part. When you stop tasting, you stop choosing. You don't eat because you're hungry. You eat because it's a habit, because the clock says it's time, because emotions demand distraction, because routine has trapped your senses. Autopilot steals not just flavor, it steals awareness. So the next time you eat, try this. Pause. Take one slow bite. Taste it like it's the first time in months. Because when you start truly experiencing your food again, you're not just eating with intention, you're waking up. Number 9. Walking familiar routes without awareness. You remember nothing about the journey? No details, no sounds, no faces, no sky. Just a blank space between point A and point B. Like consciousness disappeared and only your body kept moving. That moment feels harmless, but it's actually one of the clearest signs you're not living. You're running a script your brain has repeated so many times it no longer needs you to be awake. When you walk the same route every day, to school, work, a store, a bus stop, your brain quietly switches from awareness to automation. Instead of observing life around you, your mind hides inside thoughts, past regrets, imagined arguments, random memories, worries about a future that hasn't happened. You stop seeing the world in front of you and start walking through the world inside your head. Reality becomes background noise. Your life becomes a replay. Maybe you crossed a street without noticing the signal changed. Maybe you passed a tree, a shop, or a person you've seen 1,000 times, but this time, they didn't exist in your awareness. That silence between steps isn't peace, it's unconscious repetition. But here's the twist. Familiar paths don't have to be invisible. They can be portals into presence. Try this the next time you walk the same route. Look up. Notice one new detail. A crack in the road, a bird sound, a change in the air. Feel the weight of each step, the ground pushing back, the rhythm of your breath. The road is the same, but you don't have to be. You're not meant to drift through life half awake. Walking can be movement or escape. The choice depends on whether you're present. Number 8. Forgetting conversations right after they happen. Have you ever finished a conversation, nodded, smiled, agreed, and then minutes later realized you don't remember a single word that was said? Not because it wasn't important, but because your mind wasn't there. Your body participated, your voice responded, but your awareness never showed up. It's like living inside a movie where you keep missing scenes, yet the story keeps moving forward without you. When conversations slip away instantly, it's not forgetfulness, it's disconnection. It means you weren't listening. You were waiting to reply, waiting for your turn, waiting for the moment to escape. Maybe you were mentally rehearsing responses, maybe your mind was drifting, or maybe the conversation felt too familiar, too predictable. So your brain placed it under the routine category and processed it on autopilot. And here's the unsettling truth. The more we forget these moments, the more we forget people. Relationships break quietly, not through arguments, but through absence. When someone talks to you and you aren't fully present, they feel it. Even if you don't realize it, your silence becomes distance. But presence is powerful. Try this. Next time someone speaks to you, pause inside yourself. Put away internal noise. Look at their eyes. Listen to the tone beneath their words and notice the emotion they aren't saying out loud. That's where real connection lives. Because when you remember conversations, you're not just remembering words. You're remembering lives, emotions, and meaning. And that is how you return to being awake instead of drifting through moments you never truly lived. Number 6. Repeating the same day every week. Washing dishes, folding clothes, sweeping floors, wiping surfaces. These tasks seem simple, necessary, harmless. But have you ever noticed how your mind disappears while doing them? Your hands move with perfect precision, repeating a rhythm you've performed hundreds of times. But mentally, you're somewhere else. You're replaying past mistakes, imagining future scenarios, or drifting into blank thought. The chore gets done, but you weren't there when it happened. This is one of the most subtle ways autopilot takes over. The brain loves patterns because they require less energy, and chores, are the purest form of repetition. Over time, the action becomes muscle memory, and consciousness steps aside. You don't scrub because you choose to. You scrub because the script demands it. But here's what's fascinating. Chores have the potential to become meditation or numbness, depending on your awareness. When you do them blindly, life leaks away in small pieces. Minutes disappear, hours vanish, days blur. A week later, you barely remember what you cleaned, washed, or folded. Everything dissolves into routine. But when you bring awareness into simple tasks, something strange happens. The ordinary becomes alive. The sound of water hitting a plate becomes music. The warmth of clothes fresh from the dryer feels comforting. The repetitive motion becomes grounding instead of draining. So next time you're doing chores, slow down. Not physically, but mentally. Notice your breath. Notice your pace. Notice how your body knows exactly what to do. That awareness transforms routine into presence. Because life isn't only in big moments, life is in the small ones you've been sleepwalking through. Number 6. Repeating the same day every week. Have you ever paused and asked yourself, when was the last time something felt genuinely new? When every Monday feels identical to the last, every Tuesday follows the same rhythm, and every weekend plays like a rerun of a show you never chose. That's not routine. That's looping. It's the silent repetition of a life running in the background while your mind slowly forgets what excitement even feels like. You wake up at the same time, you drink the same coffee, you rush through the same tasks, you end the day in the same exhaustion. The pattern feels safe, predictable, but there's a hidden cost. When days become copies rather than memories, time starts to disappear. Suddenly, it's not 1 week later, it's years later, and nothing feels significantly different. Your brain loves repetition because it doesn't need to think. It doesn't need awareness, curiosity, or intention. It simply replays yesterday, and the more you repeat, the easier it becomes to lose the sense of being alive. But here's the quiet truth. Life isn't meant to be a treadmill. It's meant to be a landscape, one that changes, surprises, challenges, and expands you. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something unfamiliar? Tried a new food, walked a different route, spoke to someone new, changed your schedule, or allowed spontaneity to exist? Even the smallest shift can break the loop. Because when every day feels the same, you're not living time. Time is living you. And noticing that is the first step toward waking up. Number 5. Defaulting to the same food choices. Have you ever opened a menu full of options and still ordered the exact same thing you always get? Or stood in front of your fridge knowing there are choices, yet automatically reached for the same meal you've eaten 100 times? It may feel harmless, even practical, but it's one of the clearest signs of autopilot behavior. Repetition without reflection. Food should be an experience. Flavor, memory, culture, curiosity. But when we repeat the same meals on loop, something deeper is happening. The brain prefers familiarity because it removes uncertainty. Choosing something new requires attention, presence, and sometimes vulnerability. A new taste might disappoint. A new texture might feel strange. So instead of exploring, we retreat into patterns. There's also an emotional layer to this. Sometimes repetitive eating isn't preference. It's comfort, control, or numbness. When life feels overwhelming or chaotic, the mind looks for something predictable. The same meal becomes a quiet anchor, a routine that temporarily protects us from change, even if that change is harmless. But ask yourself this: when did food stop being exciting? When did it become fuel instead of pleasure? When did curiosity disappear? You don't have to radically change your diet. Start smaller. Pick one new flavor, one new spice, one different breakfast, one unfamiliar ingredient. Notice how your brain reacts: curiosity, fear, hesitation, interest. Because choosing differently isn't just about food. It's about proving to yourself that you're not stuck, not robotic, not repeating life without intention. One new choice can remind you that you're still capable of exploring. Number 4. Checking your phone without purpose. Have you ever picked up your phone and realized you don't even know why? No notification, no message, no call, just a silent pull, almost like muscle memory. Your fingers unlock the screen, open the same apps, scroll the same feeds, and refresh as if something meaningful will suddenly appear. But deep down, you know it won't. That behavior isn't curiosity, it's compulsion. It's your brain craving distraction, not information. This habit happens when the mind is uncomfortable sitting still. A moment of silence feels unfamiliar. A pause feels empty. Instead of experiencing boredom, reflection, emotion, or stillness, you escape into digital noise. The phone becomes a shield, protecting you from real awareness. What's more unsettling is how automatic it becomes. You check your phone while eating, walking, working, waiting, resting, even while talking to someone. The device becomes an extension of your nervous system, and eventually, you stop asking why you're using it. You just do. But here's the truth. If you're checking your phone without intention, you're not seeking connection. You're avoiding presence. Every unnecessary swipe steals seconds, minutes, sometimes hours, time that could have been spent thinking, noticing, creating, or simply being. Try this small shift. Before touching your phone, ask one question. What am I looking for? If there's no answer, put it back down, because the phone itself isn't the problem. The unconscious urge is. Breaking that urge is how you reclaim attention, awareness, and control. Number 3, zoning out while watching TV. You sit down to relax, press play, and suddenly time dissolves. One episode becomes 5. A 2-minute break becomes an hour. You laugh, react, maybe even cry, yet afterward, you struggle to remember what you just watched. Not because the content was bad, but because you weren't fully there. Your eyes watched, but your mind drifted somewhere between numbness and escape. This is what happens when TV becomes a mental elevator. It takes you somewhere else, not because you chose to travel, but because your brain needed to shut itself off. When life feels heavy, repetitive, or emotionally quiet, screens become an easy portal out of the present moment. The story entertains you, but it also silences your awareness. And without realizing it, your thoughts, emotions, even your energy become passive. The danger isn't watching, it's disconnecting from yourself while watching. When content becomes background noise, when episodes autoplay before your mind returns, when you consume instead of engage, that's autopilot. But TV can also be meaningful if watched consciously. Notice how a scene makes you feel. Notice dialogue, cinematography, pacing, music. Pause after an episode and ask yourself, did this move me, teach me, change me, or just distract me? Entertainment isn't the enemy. Unconscious consumption is. When you choose what you watch, rather than letting the screen choose for you, you take back control. Because zoning out feels like rest, but awareness is what actually restores you. Number 2, forgetting how you got from A to B. There are moments when you arrive somewhere, your home, your workplace, a store, and suddenly realize you don't remember the drive or the walk. You don't remember turns, traffic lights, streets, or time passing. It feels like you teleported, but the truth is simpler and scarier. Your body acted while your mind disconnected. You were present in motion, but absent in awareness. This phenomenon isn't just forgetfulness, it's a sign of deep mental automation. Your brain recognized a familiar route and switched to its stored template, letting habit take over while your thoughts wandered into invisible spaces. Maybe you replayed stress, imagined conversations, or drifted into fantasies. Maybe you weren't thinking at all. Either way, the journey vanished. When this happens repeatedly, it reveals something deeper. Life is happening, but you're not experiencing it. The world outside continues, changing weather, shifting light, passing faces, distant sounds, yet none of it settles in your awareness. Time moves, but you don't feel it. The road becomes a blur. The moment becomes empty. But here's the powerful shift. Presence transforms even ordinary travel into living. The next time you move from one place to another, try to notice one new thing: the texture of the air, the color of the sky, the weight of your steps, the pattern of sounds around you. Feel the transition, not just the destination, because getting somewhere shouldn't mean losing the journey. Number 1, sleeping and waking at the exact same times unconsciously. Have you noticed how your body wakes up before the alarm? Almost like it already knows the script of your day? You go to bed at the same hour, wake at the same minute, and repeat the cycle without questioning it. At first, it seems disciplined, even healthy. But when sleep becomes a pattern without awareness, it reveals something deeper. Your life has become predictable enough that even your subconscious runs on schedule. Human sleep is supposed to respond to energy, emotion, seasons, stress, excitement, or purpose. But when every night feels identical, you may not be resting. You're resetting, like a phone completing a cycle before repeating the next day's tasks. Your dreams blur. Your mornings feel automatic. You wake not because you feel alive, but because the routine demands it. And here's the part most people never notice. The mind that falls asleep on autopilot often wakes on autopilot too. There's no curiosity in the morning, no pause, no moment of presence. Instead, there's an invisible checklist: get up, wash, eat, leave, as if you're continuing a loop rather than entering a new day. But mornings are sacred. They're the doorway between unconscious and conscious life, and how you experience those first minutes determines who shows up for the world, the automated version of you or the aware one. Try this tomorrow. Before moving, before thinking, before reaching for your phone, take one slow breath. Feel your existence. Notice the silence. Let yourself wake consciously. Because life doesn't change when you sleep differently. It changes when you wake differently.